What's up, y'all? My name is Seth Packan, and this is where small town brains talk about big city nonsense. This is Podunk Perspective. Podunk Perspective, we are back with a new set. We're changing things up. We're upgrading over here. It's still Podunk, don't get me wrong, but we got a really special guest here today. His name is Cole Bradford, and I'm super excited to show you guys who he is and let him play us some tunes.
Heck yeah, dude. Thanks for having me, man.
Dude, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. We've been trying to set this up for a minute. And Dude, I'm so glad we got it finally in the books, and we're here now. First time I met you, we were just talking about it, was softball. Good old Music Row Softball League.
Yeah, man. One-hit wonders.
Yeah, this was like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
and who were a few of those guys on the team?
Dude, it was me, Cody Garrett, Nathan Wilson played with us.
Yeah.
Sam Johnson, before he passed away, Ethan Willis.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. Brendan Monroe.
Yeah. Was Jimmy on that team?
Jimmy was on that team.
Yeah. Damn,
golly, there's
good
a
group
lot.
Of guys,
yeah, it's a lot, man. Good group of guys. Still talk to, pretty much all of them. Mm-hmm. And
So obviously that was a team full of artists. You're an artist in town. Tell us where you're from and, maybe how you got into music.
Yeah, man. I'm from Conyers, Georgia. So It's like 20 miles southeast of Atlanta, like a suburb of Atlanta. So it's kind of funny. It's kind of like a city feel, kind of like a small town feel, or at least it was until like 2008, 2010 time.
Right.
I can't remember exactly what year. It was like 2007, 2008. And Oprah went on her show and was like, hey, if you want an affordable place to live outside of Atlanta, go to Conyers, Georgia.
Oh boy.
And dude, it just like
blew up.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's still there. I haven't actually gone back to my old house, and it's been forever, probably like 7-8 years. But there used to be a one street neighborhood that was all mansions, just the shell of them. Yeah. Like they built the homes and never moved in them. So it was just
Holy
like
cow.
grown up, wild, like tall grass. But you could just go down the street and there's like 15 houses in there that are huge. It was like Oprah, Tom Glavine, like Dominic Wilkins, Ludacris. Like it was crazy.
That's well, yeah. I know there are a bunch of like, there's a little bit of a music scene that comes out of Atlanta and that area.
Yeah.
So I guess it makes sense.
Yeah. So it was just, that was like a weird time, because it was, and then like a year later, the street that I lived on, that my subdivision was on, like it was power lines,
right?
And and then a year later, it's like 5 new neighborhoods, and everybody's just moving in. So that changed pretty quickly. But yeah, man, I've been in Nashville for 10 years. Actually, it was 10 years this past July. And I originally moved up here to teach and coach football. So I was actually a head football coach at Overton High School.
Okay.
During COVID, and kind of how I got in. I've always sang, I've always written.
Right.
I grew up, singing in church and things like that.
So obviously you played football in high school and stuff.
I did.
Were you trying to go to college or play pro, or do that thing?
I played in college. I played at Georgia Southern, actually, in Statesboro.
It's badass.
So it's
it makes sense.
That was fun, man. But I still say, like, there's nothing better than Friday Night Lights. Like it's one of those things that if you experienced it, you experienced it. If you didn't,
right.
God, dude.
What was the big difference, going from high school football to college football?
Dude, the speed of the game.
Yeah, it truly gets faster.
I still remember my first fall camp. I was 18 years old. Like, didn't even really know if I was going to be going to camp or not, because I came on really late. I was originally going to play baseball, and I hurt my arm the last game of my senior year, and so they were like, "Oh yeah, you need Tommy John," and I was like, "What's Tommy John?" It was like now you come back like 10 times better. And
right.
Then it was they didn't really know, like, you came back better or it was like 10 times worse. And but we were fall camp, Statesboro, Georgia. It was like 112 degrees, and so I go in there. We're scrimmaging during camp, and we were in triple option, so we were big, like cut block in open field, and I'll never forget, dude. His name was Josh Rowe. He was our starting middle linebacker, and I was like, oh man, I'm taking a great angle. I'm about to cut the shit out of this dude. And dude, I get there, and the next time I literally go to throw my cut block, he's 5 yards past me. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna figure this out. But dude, the speed of the game, like it's even Georgia Southern was FCS when I first went. My senior year, we moved up to the Sun Belt.
Guard or
D1.
tackle?
I was a guard.
Yeah. Dude, that's a fun pulling guard, bro.
Dude, that was me in high school. I didn't play offensive line until my junior year. And so we ran kind of a triple option, like wing T type, and I literally pulled every single play, every play. And then I was kind of like, oh, this shit's fun, man.
No, it's fun until that once or twice you get burnt, and you're like, oh, shit, I should have been there.
Bro, watching film on that night at camp, I was just like, oh, dude, I'm about to get grilled. I'm about to get grilled, and I did. And but dude, you learn so fast. You're like, okay, all right, well, cool. Now I know next time I'm gonna take this angle 10 yards ahead of him, and I'm gonna close the gap. Yeah. And dude, it was crazy.
What was your record? Like, you guys?
So yeah, man, we won technically 2 conference championships when we were in the SoCon. Yeah. We couldn't win when we moved up. So they had they have the rule. It's so weird to me. Like, I get it if you're in a division up and you move down. It's like, no, you can't win anything. But we went undefeated in the Sun Belt my last year too, and so technically we won it, but we didn't win it. But we still got rings and all that. So, dude, I walked away with 3 conference championship rings, and my junior year we beat Florida.
That's a good feeling.
At the Swamp, dude. So that was really cool. I can still remember, like, it was going into Thanksgiving weekend or right around then. So most of all the students were out of town away, and so we drove back up from the Swamp, and all the bars stayed open for us, and it was literally just the football team just bouncing around from the bars.
That's great.
And they were just like, yeah, dude, just throw us $5 in the tip jar, and it's just pretty much open tab.
That's great.
Yeah, so we celebrated that one pretty hard, and but dude, it was cool, man. It was cool. College football was brutal. We won a lot. We practiced hard. Yeah. The head coach that I played for when we ran triple option my first 3 years is Jeff Monken. He's at Army now. So, they're still doing the triple option thing, but like, dude, we had curfew 5 nights a week.
What's the difference in conditioning? I've always been curious, like, between high school and college.
Man, I thought we conditioned hard in high school.
Yeah. See, I thought that too, but then
we got there and like, so Monday was our conditioning day. Like, we came back, we watched film on Sunday, we watched film on Monday, then had a walkthrough. And then it was our conditioning day. And dude, we ran, I guess it was like full gassers was what it was. And so, you go sideline to hash back, hash back, hash, sideline.
Yeah.
And dude, I can't even remember, like, I think our lineman time was like, we still had to be like 21 seconds or something. Yeah. And dude, there's so much change of direction in there. So it's a sprint, man. Yeah. And then the other 2 full days of practice were full pads like every single week. So we conditioned at the end of practice every single day. Yeah. And it was, I guess that's the other big thing is like high school, it's like, you had times.
Right.
Super lenient because you're like, you got some of these high school kids that they're like,
the coaches are just making up stuff. Everyone could have made the time, but they're going to make you run another lap.
Dude, college it was like, no, if we didn't hit that, if one person's like toe was still out there, nope, we're doing it again. So that was, but dude, when I was in college, I think I could run 2 miles in like 14 minutes.
That's great.
Like it was nuts, man. Partially that was from 5 a.m. fun runs because we all had to go. So if one lineman messed up, we all woke up 4:30, 5 a.m. doing grass drills.
Do you still talk to anyone from the team?
I still actually one of my roommates and best friends. He's a Statesboro local, and I still talk to him. He got married. My wife and I got married a couple years ago, and they got married like a month after us. They had a little girl like a month after us. We just had our first girl and our first baby, and so I still talk to him all the time. But a lot of those guys still stay in touch with, and all of them they're like, oh my god, dude, you're doing music in Nashville, and that's badass, man. That's so cool, and because none of them really knew. I didn't, looking back on it, I wish I probably like started doing something in college because it just would have been fun, but then we all graduated and kind of moved on, and they're all like, dude, you can sing, like what, so it's cool, man.
No, that's so cool. So did you know right away that you wanted to go into coaching, like after you left the team?
Yeah, so pretty much. I got like a little bit screwed in college by my advisor. They were like, "Oh yeah, just get a history degree and you can go coach." That turned out to not be true. Yeah. So originally, like why I moved up here was to get my master's, and so I coached college ball out at Cumberland University in Lebanon, Tennessee for 2 years. I got my master's, and so I knew I was like, that's what I wanted to do. I was like, I had some really good mentors and people who gave me great advice, and I was like, man, I want to make the same impact on kids and do the same thing. And about 5 years into it was when COVID hit. And I was like, dude, I'm breaking up a fight every day. Like, there's stuff going on. I'm done, man. And so I started, and that was about the time that I started music, so it kind of worked out.
So were you always, like musically inclined? Like, were you always able to sing? Were you always able to pick up a guitar and play?
I would say as far as singing, yeah. Like, I grew up, like I said, singing in church, and I did chorus in elementary, middle school, and high school. All my buddies on like football team, baseball team, like, you doing chorus? I'm like, dude, it's an easy A. And so I did that, and I actually didn't learn to play guitar until COVID. Like, that's when it was. It's a funny story, and it's kind of like my go-to story because it's just how I got started. But I got a guitar for high school graduation from my aunt, and I was like, dude, sweet, this is so cool. She just surprised me with it. She was like, hey, go learn to play guitar. And so I'm like, oh yeah, man, college, like I'll sit around in my free time and learn to pick some chords and strings, and that didn't happen.
No,
like, I had zero free time between football and class and
partying,
definitely. But so during COVID, I was living with my brother, like right off of 8th Avenue in a duplex over there, and he was actually managing. He had just graduated college. He actually played at Cumberland, so I got to play him for 2 years.
Cool.
And when he graduated, he got this job like managing real properties for this guy who owns like 25 Airbnbs or something. Yeah. And so he was like, "Hey, I've actually got this duplex that I don't have it rented out. I'll rent it to you for $1,000 a month." We're like, "Yeah,
great,
cool,
fantastic."
And so we did that, and I was teaching special education and coaching football at the time, and I came home from school one day, and my brother literally says like, "Hey Cole, sit your ass down. You're gonna learn to play guitar." And I laughed at him. I was like, bro, I've had that guitar for 10 years. I was like, man, there's no way.
Right.
And he said, dude, sit down. And he walks back to his room and he brings out this acoustic guitar that he had bought on Facebook Marketplace for like $50. And I was like, oh shit, he's serious. And so we did, man. We pulled YouTube up on TV, like literally right then and there. And so one of the first songs that was big at the time that I like learned to strum was "Shallow" from I think it was A Star Is Born. I think it was a movie. And so so I'm sitting there just looking like a dumbass. Like, all right, here we go.
And that's not a necessarily easy song by any means.
No, it is like, but it was for whatever reason, man. Like we would type in, just like learn to play guitar chords or learn to play guitar. And that song, I don't know if it was just because it was like popular at the time, I don't know, but it just kept popping up. I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna learn to strum this one. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's so cool. So when was it where you were like, wow, like I need to actually take this serious and put out music?
Man, so it was funny. Like I started learning guitar, and then
did social media have a play in this?
Like it did, but it didn't.
Yeah.
It was weird because I had some family that was like, why don't you just try it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I don't know anything about it. I don't know anybody here in the industry, And so, like I said, me and my brother, we go back and really my brother's like pushing me. He's like, dude, just try it. And then I was also working a part-time job at George Jones when it was still here, like downtown.
Damn.
And like that was my extra.
Bouncer or the bartender?
It was security.
Yeah, security.
Like, bro, all I was doing was walking around and bullshitting with people. And, I don't think once, I worked there for like 3 years. I don't think I ever once kicked anybody out.
Right.
Like never.
You've had to see some crazy stuff though.
Dude, I've seen some crazy stuff, but never had anything crazy enough to be like, all right, dude, what the hell am I doing here? And so when me and my brother ended up going our separate ways, he got engaged and they went ahead and got a townhome and started doing their thing, And so there was a buddy of mine that was working at the bar, and he was a musician, and he was like, hey, dude, I'm playing this little show at the Mockingbird in Franklin. You want to get on there and play with me? And I'm like, here I am. I'm like, bro, I just started picking up a guitar 2 months ago. I'm like still trying to figure out how to even sing while playing with a guitar, And but like me just knowing what it was, I was like, yeah, dude, I'll do it, And so I literally like picked up a guitar, and then 2 months later went and played a little show, and so at that point I was like, oh, this is cool, man. And to be honest, I was like, I guess the reason I never really thought about it was I was like, dude, I didn't think I had what it took write songs with other people and sing in front of people. And
what type of music were you like growing up on listening to? Like, did this influence what you're putting like out now?
Yeah, dude. So I've started to shift a little bit more of what I'm doing now. From it's still modern country, but dude, I grew up on everything from Alanis Morissette to Neo, T.I., Lil Wayne. Like, bro, I like Conyers. Like I said, it's a suburb of Atlanta. So, dude, like realistically, I mean, I listen to everything. Like, so now and I'm from the same hometown as Teddy Swims, which is pretty cool.
That's tight.
And so like to see what he's doing for one is just sick. And like I love what he does because he's got a genre, but he just does like his thing.
He does him,
And so I've finally, dude, probably in the last 8 to 10 months, I've finally just like swallowed that pill of like, oh, dude, I don't have to.
I'm putting out whatever.
I'm wearing Air Force Ones right now. Like, I mean, I don't have to wear boots every single day. I don't have to wear jeans. Like if I want to wear joggers and a flannel with Air Force, like I'm just gonna do my thing. Like and it's like lifted a weight off my shoulders. And so I'm starting to take a lot of the influences that I grew up on between hip hop and R&B and. I listen to old school country too. It's kind of funny, man. And I still like George Strait, one of my absolute favorites. And but I'm taking all that and just kind of merging it in one and just doing my thing.
Were your parents like musically inclined? Like, did they have any sense of singing or playing instruments? Or
dude, funny enough, like no, not at all. I love my mom to death. Like, she's gonna see this, but like. Can't really carry a tune in a bucket. She'll sing with the best of them. And just she gets it going. But and she's not bad. So she can. I should. She.
It's okay, Mama Bradford. We understand.
It was funny. Like I heard stories about my dad. He could kind of play piano by ear a little bit, which was weird. He can't really sing at all, but he could hear a little. Just a little jingle or something. He'd go. The house that he grew up in. At his parents, they had a old piano sitting there, and so he'd run over there and hop up to it. And he's like,
That's
"Oh,
so
I can
cool.
do this." It was like kind of cool, but he didn't do anything with he didn't do anything with music, and so I'm the first one of anybody in my family to do that, and it was family and friends where they were just like, "Dude, why don't you just give it a shot?" And it was actually another one of those like, "Hey, why'd you actually start doing it?" We somehow, some way. The night of one of the writers' rounds coming back from COVID, it was at Live Oak, and I want to say it was outside the round, like with Matt Brill and them, and somehow my house that night before became like this huge pregame type deal. I picked up like 450 Busch Light cans off the ground the next day.
That's crazy.
But dude, that night, like we sat out by the fire and played some songs, and dude, I booked like 50 writes that night. It was crazy. It was just like all of a sudden, I started meeting some people and they were like, "Hey, dude, well, we have nothing better to do. Like, let's just sit down and write a song." And so started doing that. And then people were like, "Dude, you can sing." And I was like, "Oh, like appreciate it," and that's really what pushed me into like doing it. So
what did that, feeling feel like when you were putting out your first song and, like letting the world hear it? For the first time?
Dude, it was so weird, man, because the first song I ever put out was called Those Ones, and we wrote it during COVID. We wrote it like really geared to everybody during COVID, and it's one of those songs that I don't really even play it much anymore unless it's a certain crowd that they're like, "Dude, please play that," and I do, like when I go back home, because I've got people back there that are like, "Dude, come on, please play it," like, but it's like one of those things where it like gives you the heebie-jeebies a little bit. You're like, "Holy shit, man!"
Well, it's so badass. I've seen that with a few up and coming artists here, and it's like, play those songs because guess what? Like, yes, you want to play your new music, but they're here to hear that song, so play it.
And dude, that's what it comes down to, man. And so like. But I still remember just how cool of a feeling it was because I was still so new to it, and didn't understand how many people actually put out music and how you could just you could go on DistroKid.
How was that like first time in a studio?
Dude, that was wild to me because I was like, I've never up to that point I was like, I'd never done that, so it was like all of a sudden you're sitting down and
from football field to studio.
Yeah, dude, it was wild, man, but it was cool and and it like it felt natural, I guess you could say. So like I was like, all right, well that's cool. Like it feels like I've done it before, but I haven't. And then of course, like I put that song out, and then everybody that, you know, my friends and family and everything back home, they're like, "Oh my God, dude, this is so cool! You have a song on Spotify and Apple Music." And I'm like, "Yeah, man." It still hadn't like hit me that I just did that, but it's been cool, man. And I think the coolest thing about it all is just to see the growth of, you know, what I've done, and because I still love everything that I've put out, you know, and everything that I've written, whether it was good or bad. But just knowing that I can hear myself and see where I came from and what I used to do and what I'm doing now. I'm like, cool. Well, I don't sound worse than I used to, you know?
Well, you know, fast forward to like this year, kind of tell us about the songs you've been putting out recently.
Yeah, man.
You know, what they mean to you and how you wrote them.
Yeah, so I've put out, If Looks Could Kill at the beginning of the year, For Sale by Owner.
Great
Move on
song.
to, thanks, man. I appreciate that. That's probably one of my favorite ones that I've ever written.
Yeah.
And definitely put out. I mean, I think I've put out 5 or 6 this year.
Right.
And with a little bit of range to it, everything's a little bit different.
Who's your main like core group of writers that you're putting out these songs with?
Yeah. So I've been writing a ton with Jimmy Snips and Dan Cameron, Steve Thomas. I wrote Move On To with Steve and Mitch James, and I mean, I love those guys.
Right.
And I mean, I write with as many people as I can.
Yeah.
But you kind of get to the point where like you have your little circle where it's
And
just like at any given moment you can drop everything and say like, "Hey, are y'all free? Do y'all want to write?"
Right.
And they're just like, "Yeah, we're free. Let's do it." You know.
If things click, things click. Right?
Yeah. And so it's cool. I mean, like For Sale by Owner, I wrote with Jimmy and Dan. If Looks Could Kill, Jimmy and Dan were on that one. Move On To, Steve was on that one.
Kind of tell us the story about like both those songs, for example, you know, and like how you kind of came up with them, and you know what you mean by the song.
Yeah.
You know?
So For Sale by Owner so my stepdad passed away in October of 2021. So we just passed his 4-year mark, which is crazy. Like I mean, I know they talk about time flies, but like, dude, it has flown. And when he passed away, I had this idea in the back of my mind. I was like, I don't know how the hell I'm going to do it or what I want to do with it, but I just wrote down For Sale by Owner, you know, because it was for sale by owner, but it wasn't. My grandmother's actually a real estate agent, so like she ended up listing the house when we sold it, but you know, she lived with us. Like we had a finished basement with another bedroom down there and kitchen and all that kind of stuff, and she and that's where she lived, but so she listed it. But I was like, you know, For Sale by Owner, it just makes sense, and it's a song that I was actually, dude, some of those songs happen where you just like you're rolling with your windows down and you start freestyling something and it sticks, and that's what happened on the course of that song, and I was just so glad how it turned out. But dude, it's just a song about the memories of that house and kind of what we went through selling it, and it seems so literal, but it's not, and it's really special to me, and I know you don't always get to put out the songs that really mean something to you or that are actually personal to you. But I'm really glad that it turned out the way that it did, and I was able to put that song out. And dude, that song, I think actually it got me like 50,000 new listeners on Spotify.
Yeah, man, that's a good song
for me.
Also, like what you just said, right? It's a song that you can relate to, but also how many other people can relate to, you know?
And that was kind of the thing with that one. Like when I put it out, you also have certain songs where you're like, at least I do, I don't want to speak for other people, but like when I put something out, I'm like, you know what, man, I don't care if this gets 200 million streams or if it gets 200. Like, this one means something to me, and that's all I care about. You know? And dude, it did well, but I've played it out so many times live, and I play it when I go back home and play. I try to go back to Georgia every couple months and play a show in my hometown, and dude, every time I play it, somebody else will come up to me and they're like, "Man, that resonated with me." I'm like, dude, what? Like, and it's just because of the bones of it. And it hits on a memory where maybe they did actually sell their house, and it was their childhood home, and even though it's personal to me, it still resonates. With somebody else.
I think the cool part about that song too, it doesn't have to be a house. It could be anything. It could be a truck. It could be a guitar. It could be a dog.
I've I've been randomly coming across videos that people have made on TikTok with it, and just because it says for sale by owner, people are using it for like they'll post pictures of their truck on there. Right. They'll be like real estate agents that are walking around like showing a house, and they have that song playing in the background. I'm thinking, what? And, but it's like, hey, cool, man. Like if it says for sale by owner, people are using it. And then they got a big, huge for sale by owner sign sitting like in their window, you know. And so it's pretty cool. But
so kind of tell us about, you know, like TikTok and Instagram, and maybe does that come easy to you? Do you like doing the Instagram and like the social media stuff?
Dude, I wish it came easy to me. I've been like very indifferent about it. Lately, I've started to be a lot more serious about it because we all know the world that we're living in, and it's social media driven, and I'm a little bit older. I'm 32, and so I know there's 15, 18-year-olds, 22-year-olds, and for them, like when it comes to social media, I think it's one of those things that, like, I've always had social media. We had MySpace and Facebook when it first started. So it's completely different. And then of course, I got Instagram when we had Instagram. But so like the creative process for me is like I feel like I'm extremely creative when it comes to like writing a song.
Right.
I know there's some people they're just like, hey, dude, I just had this idea, and it's like the equivalent of a TikTok video, and I'm like, dude, how could I have not thought of that? But I didn't, you know what I mean? Right. And so I've tried to be a lot more active on TikTok, especially just because of the reach that it has and all that. And and I look at it a couple different ways because I'm like, I don't necessarily like care or look at it of like, oh man, hey, I got to go viral. Like I got to go viral. I just look at it as like it's one of those things where I had TikTok for like 3 years, and I would just like randomly post a video or something every now and then, not understanding really how the algorithm worked and everything. And then you finally learn like, oh yeah, you need to post like 5 times a day or, at least once a day. And I was like, oh, well, let me start doing this. And so, at first you couldn't go live until you had 1,000 followers or something. Well, I had TikTok for like 3 years, and I had like 482 followers. And I'm like, dude, what am I doing? And so I was like, all right, I'm just going to start posting like wildfire, dude, throwing everything up. And then I got to the point I like finally hit 1,000 followers, and I was like, all right, dude, I'm going to go live every day.
Right.
And so then in a month I had like 38 more hundred followers, something like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, this kind of thing actually works for TikTok, So I was like, so I've tried to stay pretty busy.
Well, that's the one thing I feel like it's got to be somewhat rewarding to artists is like TikTok actually rewards you, where like I feel like Instagram it's a little bit harder, or they just want a little bit more of your money to make that happen.
And you're seeing a lot more of that now. Like you see the sponsored like posts or whatever. And I think I've run some like sponsored ads for releases or stuff in the past, but I haven't wanted to like dive into that too much because then in my mind I'm like, all right, well, if Instagram sees that I'm going to pay them money to run an ad in a certain area of Georgia or wherever I want that to reach, then I'm like, oh man, then they're going to want me to keep paying for it to get views. I'm
going to call them out on their bullshit, and hopefully they do it for free for us. I'm not paying shit.
Dude, I think I've done like, you go on there and you can choose like spread out $20 over like 5 days.
That's kind of where the point I'm at, especially with this pod. It's like, if it's going to blow up, I want it to blow up for people actually fucking liking it and not me paying for it. Like that's what I'm here for. Like I'm here to bring you some of the best unseen, untalked about artists in town, and like people like this stuff. And it's like people that visit Nashville, people that are outside of Nashville, they respect this stuff almost more because they're not as numb to it in a way,
absolutely. 100%, dude. And I'm still a pretty firm believer in that. Like Facebook, for instance, everybody, I feel like people on Facebook either have fantastic engagement or it's like nothing.
Right.
And so, dude, like the other day, I posted, there was, not the other day, it feels like the other day, it was probably a couple months ago.
Yeah.
During CMA Fest, so summertime. I played a show during CMA Fest. It was a full band show, and one of the covers that I did was "Lose Control" by Teddy Swims. Yeah. And I posted a video of it on Instagram and Facebook, and dude, it went wild.
Yeah.
Like, and I say went wild, like 60,000 subs.
But as it should,
and I'm like,
yeah.
you know, for me, I'm like, dude, that's huge.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the next video I post, I'm like, all right, cool. It's been 3 days. I've got 3 likes on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like Facebook for me is so, it's just so weird, man. But I try to, you know, I've got everything set up now where it's like when I post something to Instagram, it goes to my Facebook. And I'm like, I got to keep rolling with that because you get caught up in the discouragement of like, dude, I just took, you know, 30 minutes of my time to make this. And I'm like, dude, this looks so good. And
it's so funny that you say that, because me and my buddy Connor McCutcheon were talking about this the other day. And his rule is one-time take. I don't care what it is. It's one-time take. I'm posting it, you know? And, like, that just keeps your mental health good. Because
100%.
by the time you're doing your 8th take, your 9th take, you don't look interested in the video.
No,
you know, you're, like, fake smile. You're trying to do all the accents.
And at that
it's
point,
like,
you're just, like, bought into the little red light that's on that says record. You're like, well, dude, now I'm just doing it because
I'd rather show you that I messed up a little bit in the first video, and that's just naturally who I am.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
I'm human. You know?
Dude, it's authentic. It's real. And, like, and that's kind of how I am, too. I'm like, I can remember when I first started, you know, everything, and I was like, all right, dude, I got to get it right, you know? And I'd be like, all right, well, this is my second, or this is my third time, or whatever. And then I was just like, I'll go back and I'll watch it. And I'm like, why didn't I just do it one time and let it be? Because I'm like, dude, this one's the exact same as the second and the third and the fourth, you know? Yeah. And it's just like, you know, you want every little thing to be perfect. And I've finally learned too. I'm like, I'm not doing it, you know?
Well, and especially, like, I feel like, not that this really has anything to do with this, but, like, when you're down on Broadway, right, and you're playing in front of all these drunk people, you kind of learn that you can get away with a lot of shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Because it's like, yes, people are listening to an extent, you know, and, like, doing that type of thing. What's, like, your experience with playing on Broadway? Have you played on Broadway, you know?
Yeah, like, I've done a little bit of it. More so really just, like, acoustic duo stuff. I like doing those because it's a great opportunity just to play in front of people somebody different wherever. Every single time. And I've really, I guess what I've tried to really do is I've stayed away from it some just because I started out later.
You got to have a balance.
I kind of, you know what I mean? Like I kind of told myself, like, you know, I really want people to know my story and know, and like I said, I still will go down there and play. It's fun to do. And it's, like I said, I mean, it's more practice. And if you look at it that way, I think it's great. I mean, I think Broadway in general is great. I think playing anything is great.
Also, you don't have to leave your hometown to go meet people from everywhere.
That's what I was going to say. Know? It's like, dude, because everybody knows, like, it's hard touring, it's expensive, it's crazy, and so it's like, dude, if you get an opportunity to play down there, why not take it, man?
Right.
Like, you play, like I said, you play in front of a ton of different people.
And if that's put an extra few bucks in your pocket, that's a fun way to put an extra few bucks in your pocket. You get on there,
you know? Like, you have some fun, you drink a couple beers, you know, and you cut up with people that you would probably never meet anywhere else. I mean, you know, I've gone down there and played and had somebody come up to me and they're like, yeah, we've been here for 2 weeks. And I'm like, 2 weeks? And it's like, well, yeah, you know, we flew over from London, so we were like, we had to make it worth our while, you know. And you start thinking about that, and then you start talking to them a little more, and they're like, oh yeah, we've been to every single bar on Broadway now. We've been to Midtown. We've been, you know, up and down 2nd Avenue, and we found these like little dive bars. Yeah, they just and it's also cool because some of those conversations you get to have with those people playing Broadway is like they're going to ask you, hey, where else should I go? You know, and I love telling people like, oh, hey, go here. You know, don't go to, you know, don't go to Jason Aldean's. I mean, go and say you win. Yeah,
go.
But go to
Live Oak.
Yeah, go to Live Oak.
Go to the local. You know,
absolutely.
Go check out places. Go to Losers. Check out
go see some. Yeah, go see some live original music and go to a writers room. You know? Go to listening room. Yeah. Go to 3rd and Lindsley. Like, doesn't matter who's playing. Like, just go and support those artists, man.
Absolutely. No, and like it's funny too because the people from out of town, it's like their first time in Nashville, their second time in Nashville. They're so gung ho on the Broadway thing, Broadway. And then they go do that, and they're like, "Oh wow, I was missing out." You know, it's like, yeah, you were like, we're not gonna lie to you. Yeah, we're locals. We understand.
I don't want to steer you the wrong direction. You know, because I use it as like, what have I learned here? Being here in the time that because I had, you know, my first few years, I didn't know anybody, and like I said, I mean, I wasn't doing music, so. it was just like I'd have a friend come in town and he'd be like, "Hey, dude, let's go to Broadway." And I'm like, "Yeah, let's go to Broadway." And then you start learning some of these others, like when it was Winners and Losers and like the original Whiskey Jam stuff. I still remember when I went to Winners when Riley Green played. Dude,
back area.
Yeah, oh it just was. Stuff like that. And I'd be like, "Oh yeah, you got to go there. Like if you came here, you can't leave without going there."
And I will say, I do feel kind of special now, like as like being one of the people to like see it, be there for it.
Oh, absolutely.
Also see the transition into like the new stuff. It's like, no one. If you weren't there for it, sorry. It's pretty cool.
No, it's very cool, man.
So, you brought your guitar today.
Yeah.
I think we should get into some music and stuff, and let's do it up.
Let's do it, man.
Let's go.
I'm down.
Podunk Perspective. We're back with some music. I noticed the Pink Bass Pro Shops hat.
Yeah, man.
You just had a little girl, eh?
Yeah. She 5 months this past Saturday, so it's biggest blessing, definitely, that I've ever had.
What was that feeling like when you found out?
Everybody talks about like love at first sight and this and that, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if it's like a real thing when you just like see a girl walking down the street or whatever, but dude, when my daughter got here, I was like, love at first sight, man. I've never been so in love in my entire life. So it was just the like craziest feeling, all in one. I was sitting there, I'm crying, I'm laughing, I'm literally every emotion that I think I could have gone through, I was going through. Yeah. And we didn't know what we were having.
Right.
So we were all like, dude, we're gonna have a boy. We're gonna be the first one to have a boy. All of our friends and my brother had a little girl, and came out a girl, and I was in so much shock that I couldn't even like tell my wife. I was like, I couldn't even get it's a girl out, and so the doctor had to like hold her up, and then about that time I was finally able to say like, it's a girl. So it was crazy, man.
Yeah. So I bet that influenced some good songs, eh?
Yeah. Me and my buddy Dan Cameron, we had a write. It's probably about a month and a half ago or something, and maybe a little bit 2 months ago.
Shout out Dan, good guy.
Yeah, I love Dan, man. Yeah. He's on his honeymoon right now in St. Lucia.
Living it up.
Yeah, he was sending me some videos and pictures. I'm like, God, dude, I want to go back to paradise so bad.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, we wrote this one. I had because we didn't know what we were having. I was like, obviously, I'm going to want to write a song about whether it's a boy or a girl anyway. So I wrote down a couple of ideas for like girls and wrote down a couple of ideas for boys. And Girl Dad was one because, it's become such a trendy like thing.
It's on hats, it's on T-shirts, it's on mugs, you name it.
It's all over the place. Right. And but I knew writing down a title like that, I was like, I want to obviously put some kind of spin on it. Like I don't want it to just be like, oh yeah, like, hey, I want to show you what it's like to be a girl dad, Yeah. And so we had to write, and I told him, I was like, hey, I want to write this song, and you down to write it? And he said, bro, absolutely. And so we messed around because I had 0 lines, no chorus, no verse, no nothing. Just had a couple of ideas and things like that for it. And so we messed around for probably 5 or 10 minutes before, and I was just sitting there kind of freestyling some stuff, and all of a sudden I had this idea, and I was like, oh man, I can like bring in how I was talking to my dad about all this when, once we had her. But I was like, I do want to put a twist on it, and it's like the conversation that I was having with my dad. So it's pretty cool, and I like how it turned out. And actually just went to the studio and got it. I just got a master back on it, so I'm gonna. That's be
exciting work.
I'm gonna be putting it out pretty soon. Yeah, so I'm excited, man.
Well, let's hear it, man. Yeah, I'm pumped.
Let's do it. Hey, old man, how you been? I called 'cause I got some news. 2 pink lines, 3 months' time, we'll be painting our back room. A tip or 2, advice from you, I could use a little help. 'Cause I know you've been one too, so keep this to yourself. I'm having a girl, Dad. Add a branch to the family tree. I hope she looks just like her mama and raises hell like me. I'm gonna love that girl, Dad. I'll be there for every step. She let me wrapped around her finger, and I'd have nothing less. He said, Lord knows I'd be lying if I said I wasn't crying, but I ain't sad. Son, you're gonna be one hell of a girl, Dad. Hey, old man, just wondering when you're coming by the house. It's time we paint the back room pink, have a drink and talk about having a girl, Dad. Add a branch to the family tree. I hope she looks just like her mama and raised as hell like me. I'm gonna love that girl, Dad. I'll be there for every step. She'll let me wrapped around her finger, and I'd have nothing less. He said, Lord knows I'd be lying if I said I wasn't crying, but I ain't sad. Son, you're gonna be one hell of a girl, Dad. I'm having a girl, Dad. Praying was just praying for this day, but I never would have guessed my saving grace would be a girl, Dad. Add a branch to the family tree. I hope she looks just like her mama and raised as hell like me. I'm gonna love that girl, Dad. I'll be there for every step. She'll let me wrapped around her finger, and I'd have nothing less. He said, Lord knows I'd be lying if I said I wasn't crying, but I ain't sad. Son, you're gonna be one hell of a girl, Dad. I'm having a girl, Dad.
Bro, if I had a Podunk Perspective, like Golden Buzzard right now, burr, burr, burr. Dude, that song is so good, dude.
Dude, thank you so much, man.
Seriously,
Thank
and like number one on radio, bro. Like,
oh man,
like it's easy. Like almost like it's like I've heard it before. You know, like that's how good it is.
Dude, thank you so much, man. Yeah, I that's one that I know we talked about it earlier. I was like, you know, I don't care if it gets 2 streams or 2,000 or 2 million. I want that song. I want people to hear that song, and I want them to be able to think about like going back to the day when they had their first kid and it was a girl and they were talking to their dad. And,
shit, I don't have a girl and I'm not close to having a girl, but damn, I felt that. You know, like that
anybody,
sounds
like I just
great.
I just want to tell that story and just let people do with it what they please, man. And you know, if it reaches people, it reaches people, and if it doesn't, that's okay too. It's another one of those that's just special to me, you know.
Because you know, it's not just between you and your daughter, right? It's between you, your dad, and your daughter. And I think that is one of the coolest concepts I've heard on the show, man. It's so cool.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. And some people know, not everybody knows, my wife's name is Grace, and so when we wrote that bridge, we didn't even know we did it, but I was like, oh my God, dude, there's like a little double meaning to that, you know. I never thought I never would have thought my saving grace would be a girl. Yeah. And Grace is my wife now. We've been married for 2 years. We've been together for about 6 years, and it's one of those where I was like, that's the last person I dated. Yeah. Got married, and then my little girl, man. So it was just a little double meaning to me. That's it won't be probably anybody else, which is totally fine. But when we wrote that and I sang it, and I was like, I literally stopped and I was like, dude, that just means even so much more to me now. So yeah,
that's so cool, man.
Yeah,
so
thanks,
what's the second one you got for us?
I think, have you heard "Move On" too?
Yes.
So I wrote it with.
It's out, right?
It's out. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I put it out. I put it out this summer, and I wrote it with Steve Thomas and Mitch James. But it's that was kind of the turn of where I was like, all right, I really want to start throwing some different influences into what I'm doing and just be me. Yep. And when we wrote it, he came over to my house. I want to say it was like Memorial Day weekend of 2024. And my wife was out of town in Austin, Texas, so it was literally just me and the dogs at the house.
Yeah.
And it was storming like crazy. And he came over, and Steve was like, "Hey man, I got this idea called Move On 2." And you know how Steve is, and that's my best Steve impression.
I fucking love Steve, man.
And he was like, I ain't got any lines or chorus or anything, but
yeah.
And he started playing this little melody on the guitar and started running with it, and that was another one, man. We just like started freestyling stuff, and we're like, "Ooh, that's cool, that's cool, that's
right.
cool." And so I was like, "Dude, this is fun, man. Like this is really fun." And we wrote it pretty quick, and we got a couple videos of it just to mess around, and it was one that I started playing on TikTok Live because I was like, "This probably isn't anything that I'll cut," because
right.
you know it wasn't. And then next thing you know, people are like, "Hey, we play that Move On 2 one? We play that Move On 2 one?" And I'm like, "Damn, really?" And they were like, "Dude, yeah, play it." And so I started playing it, and a lot of people started liking it, and then I kind of was just like, light bulb kind of went off in my head, and I was like, "All right, here we go. I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna do something different because it is different. It's kind of got like it's a mixture of what I would say like Drake White, Teddy Swims, country a little bit, So especially just acoustic performance of it. So, but yeah, we'll play that one if you're cool with it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, cool, man. Move On 2. Out everywhere. It is out everywhere. Well, look who it is, queen of excuses, elusive, confusing, putting the blame on me. But the truth is, it's useless, 'cause I know where you'll be in the morning. No warning, but we both know where it leads. You'll move on to another guy, come running back with tears in your eyes, change your mind every day of the week. Worried about your heart, but what about me? Say sorry, it's the last time. Your red flag waving little white lies. If you lost what I had to lose, and you did what I had to do, you'd move on too. Well, it's your fault that I'm the king of goodbye. So what's it feel like being on the other side when you move on to another guy? Come running back with tears in your eyes, change your mind every day of the week. Worry about your heart, but what about me? Say sorry, it's the last time. Your red flag waving little white lies. If you lost what I had to lose, and you did what I had to do, you'd move on too. Oh, girl, you'd move on too. Well, your trip, the way you treated me, baby, it's a trick. Fell for the game, girl, you played me, hope he's it. And it's time for you crazy. So move on to another guy. Don't come running back with tears in your eyes. You change your mind every day of the week. Worry about your heart, don't worry about me. And move on to another guy. Don't come running back with tears in your eyes. Change your mind every day of the week. Worry about your heart, don't worry about me. Ran out of sorries, and it's the last time. Wave your white flag, save your little white lies. If you lost what I had to lose, and you did what I had to do, you'd move on too. Oh, girl, you'd move on too. Well, girl, you'd move on too.
Bro, love that one too.
Thanks,
man.
dude.
It's like,
thank you.
Yes, it's country, but like it has like what do you call that? Soul blues.
Yeah, it's got like a little soul to it, and
yeah.
lets me run a little grit with it. You know, so
no, I like those runs
it's
and
fun.
stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
Dude, that's tight. That's really
Thanks,
cool.
dude. Thanks, man.
So, what's this next one you got for us?
Are we gonna do one or two more?
Yeah, what do you think? You want to do one more?
So if we want to do two more, I'll play you for Sale by Owner because it's
let's
another
do it.
one of my
Absolutely.
favorites. And then I'll play you a little unreleased
Absolutely.
something if that's cool.
Yeah.
So
Man.
cool, man. Yeah, this one's for sale by owner. I know we've talked about it. I wrote it with Jimmy Snips and Dan Cameron, and yeah, man, this is the one it's real personal to me, but but it did a lot for me,
right?
As far as numbers and all that kind of stuff go, and so that was, I try not to get too caught up in that, but when I see it, and I saw it, and I was like, dude, this is really cool. This is like growth,
For people that don't know and maybe that aren't into like the music scene and stuff, tell them like how your process is when it comes to writing a song, and how, like when you, Jimmy, and Dan, sit down in a room, what happens to make that magic happen, Yeah,
I mean, at least for me, and I think for a lot of other people, of course, we'll go around the room and we'll say, all right, hey, what ideas you got, and or what titles, what hooks, or you got anything with verse and a chorus, and we just. We'll. I know I like to go into it. And I'm like, all right, what y'all feeling today? You want to cry? You want to laugh? You want to drink a beer? What do you want to do? And so for this one, I was riding down 40 coming back from Jackson, Tennessee, and that's when I had kind of freestyled a little like voice memo on my phone. I was riding with the windows down. It was a beautiful day outside, and I was like, I have something in my head right now, and I don't want to lose it. And I sent it to them because I knew we had to write, and I went ahead and called both of them, and I was like, "Hey, I know we normally jump in here, and we bounce ideas off around." I was like, "But are y'all cool with writing this one with me?" And they were like, "Yes, let's do it." So that was cool because we kind of we walked right in, and we were like, "All right, we know what we're writing." And man, with this one being so like personal, and just relating to me. As far as the process goes, like I love being able to go into that room, whether it's for me or for somebody else, and let those other guys like be their creative self too, and put their spin on it. And so if I say something that, maybe that's not the line, or maybe it's the idea, and then Dan or Jimmy says like, oh hey, what if we said it this way? And there were multiple times that happened, for all of us. And
I feel like one of the best things for songwriting and music in general is when you have an idea and it's interpreted three different ways.
Yeah, 100%. And and it is. And dude, everybody in this town, man, is so creative, so talented. And and it is a skill set, and it's not. Like I think that's what I've learned about it, and I don't think everybody realizes that like you don't necessarily have to be like this just unbelievable songwriter, because you might have ideas that come out of left field completely, where it's all of a sudden you're like, did you really just say that? Because like I know you didn't mean to, but like you did.
Well, also too, you could be writing a whole idea in a song, and then all of a sudden the whatever you just said, that's supposed to be a small part of the song is now the title, and now the biggest part of the song.
And that's happened, but as far as that process, like that's really it, and there's been plenty of times where I've gone into a room and we have nothing on a guitar, no nothing, and we're just like, hey, let's just write down words, let's just write down lyrics on paper that we want it to be. And I was like, we'll worry about the melody later, and so that's really kind of what we did with this one. We didn't have I had obviously I'd hummed like a little melody the way that I was singing it. We changed it up a little bit just when we finally had a guitar and play, but I think that's the other cool part too, is like you can sing something one way, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, it kind of sounds like that, like I don't want that. And then all of a sudden you pick up a guitar, or somebody that's way better playing guitar than me, and they'll play something, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's it.
Yes, sir.
That's it. Start humming a little something in my head, and I'm like, yeah, that's it right there. So, but for sale by owner, you can play that one.
Yes, sir. Let's do it up.
Cool, man.
And this one's out?
This one's out everywhere.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this one's out everywhere. The grass ain't as green as it was before, and the sky outside's a grayer shade of blue. Paint's peeling off that old front door, but the mat on the ground still welcomes you. There used to be a man and a woman, 3 kids and 2 damn good dogs, breakfast in a cast iron skillet, all their memories on the wall. but their kids moved out. Man left town for the streets of gold in October. Now she's left with some boxes on the steps and a house for sale by owner. Dates line the wall to 6'4". Fresh coat of paint and she'll be good as new. The roots are strong from the roof down to the floor. Tears fill her eyes every time she walks through. There used to be a man and a woman, 3 kids and 2 damn good dogs. Breakfast in a cast iron skillet, all their memories on the wall. But their kids moved out, man left town for the streets of gold in October. Now she's left with some boxes on the steps and a house for sale by owner. She's packed up and all alone, but moving out ain't moving on. She knows it ain't just sticks and stones that make a house a home. There used to be a man and a woman, 3 kids and 2 damn good dogs. Breakfast in a cast iron skillet, all their memories on the wall. But their kids moved out, man left town for the streets of gold in October. Now she's left with some boxes on the steps and a house for sale by owner.
Hell yeah, man.
Thanks, man.
I love that one,
Thank
dude.
you. Yeah, it's that's one of my favorite songs, man.
It's so good, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's just like with the 3 songs you just sang, it's just like and you know, so many people wish this in this town and you know want this, and there's so many artists out there, but it's like, how are you not on tour with some of the biggest people? You know, how are you not open up? And it's just like, you know, it just hopefully they find you out and hopefully you know they can come and you know listen to your music and you know make that happen. You know,
and dude, that's where it's like, hey. The world is social media, and that's where that's where you like look at it and you're like, oh man, yeah, well maybe somebody will see me on TikTok or Instagram, you know. But either way, dude, like I the way that I look at it is, you know, if it's supposed to happen, it will, and it's all in God's timing and in His plan, and you know, it's I love doing this so much that it's like if I make it, so to speak. I make it, but you know, like what I've done and where I've come from, like I'm like, you know, I've made it to myself.
You know, I feel like there's something to say about where like I feel like you're very comfortable when it comes to like singing and you know just telling your story, and you know that in itself is like, yes, you want to do this. You know, it's almost like if you have that issue of telling your story and like you have that ego of like, oh, I have you're nervous and stuff. It's like. Yes, you're like you don't want to tell your story, but like you know, dude, it's like you are meant to do this, and it's so cool to see.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I really do. It's it's fun. It's a blast. I love writing songs. I love singing them. You know, it's just I love doing it. So, if we got time for one more, I'll play you a little unreleased something.
Absolutely, let's hear it.
So, all right, this one's called "Hell of a Day," and I wrote it with Jimmy Snips and Steve Thomas, and so yeah.
What's the story behind this one?
This one, so Steve lost his dad a while back. I lost my stepdad. Jimmy's lost a granddad. You know, so at some point, you know, everybody's lost somebody. Yeah. But I had this idea of Hell of a Day, and King Steve, you know, he came in when we were writing. Man. Shout out to Steve,
Put out music, like, bro.
Hey, what if we?
Dude, can we take a timeout? Steve was on like episode 8, and I was like, bro, put out music. And we're on episode. This is about to be 34, I think. And I'm like, Steve, you still haven't put out music, man. Where's it at? I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, and you know, Steve's one of those guys that like he goes on Instagram and he posts a video, and then like 3 weeks later he deletes it.
Yeah, it's blank, it's clear
like
Instagram.
Nothing, you know. But Steve he was like, dude, yes. He was like, but what if we like said it this way? And I was like, boom, there we go. Like, yes, that's it, you know. And so hell of a day, and the hook that we landed on, that's how we came up with it. But, you know, we didn't want it to be like this, you know, super sad song.
Right.
It's sad enough, you know. And by the way, I love writing sad songs. I love sad country music. Like, it's just my go-to. Like, most people, you know, they're in the gym listening to metal. I might listen to the sad country songs. It's hilarious. But we wanted it to be, you know, like uplifting and like positive enough to where it was, you know, it's sad and it tells the story, but it just tells you really like how badass this guy was.
It's sad,
you know?
in a positive way.
Yeah,
you know,
you know, it talks about how, you know, how badass and just like what kind of guy, you know, this was that's a part of this story. So I haven't played it in a little bit, so hopefully I don't forget the words. But
it's okay. No one will know.
We'll figure it out.
It's not that.
This was called Hell of a Day. So. I can still remember the day the good Lord called you home. I bet they rolled out a little red dirt along them streets of gold. You might be the first they heard asking to bum a light. I know you got rust in your wings, but wait till they see you fly. Now Sunday school's got the angels singing Georgia on my mind. The big man's bar keeps them cold and there ain't no closing time. They all knew what they were getting into. Up all night if I know you. When your wild walk through them pearly gates. Heaven had a hell of a day. Heaven had a hell of a day. Bet they fenced in 40 just so you could have your space. Behind that house on the hill you swore you'd have someday. Bet that old 95 was ready to ride a dirt road or two. Them 4 mud tires had gravel flying like we used to. Now Sunday school's got the angels singing Georgia on my mind. The big man's bar keeps them cold and there ain't no closing time. They all knew what they were getting into. Up all night if I know you. When your wild walk through them pearly gates. Heaven had a hell of a day. Heaven had a hell of a day. It was a hell of a day when the dogs won it all. But I ain't been the same since I got that call. Now Sunday school's got the angels singing Georgia on my mind. The big man's bar keeps them cold and there ain't no closing time. They all knew what they were getting into. Up all night if I know you. When your wild walk through them pearly gates. Heaven had a hell of a day. Heaven had a hell of a day.
Bro, fucking heavy hitter after heavy hitter, man.
Thank you, dude.
Thank you. That's a great song,
man. Yeah, that's another one of my favorite ones. That it's newer, and I haven't got to play it out a ton, but when I do, man, I love it, and it's another one of those where I'm like, man, you know, I might cut it, you know, I might cut it too. So
it's such a it's you know, it's one of those songs that I feel like obviously a lot of people will connect with. Like when you put it on social media, it'll do well, but you know, it's like one of those songs that like songwriters like, you know, Luke Combs and Hardy are gonna like, you know, where it's like they understand that. Yeah. They understand what you're saying. Yeah. You know, and
that'd be sick if one of them ever heard it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, man, it's super cool, and I'm so glad and happy I've got to have you on the pod. And,
Dude,
you know,
I'm pumped to be on here, man.
Your friends, you know, I
appreciate
just want to let you know your friends have nothing but great things to say about you. You know,
I'm glad to hear that.
So
I'm glad to hear that,
You know, man, I feel like your future is super bright, and you know, I'm glad to say that I've had you as a guest on Podunk Perspective.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for having me. I'm glad we could finally get it worked out, and like I said, I apologize, man. Having a little,
you got a brand new little girl,
dude.
Yeah.
Having a little girl at the house. That's why when I was texting you earlier about it, I was like, yeah, dude, if we can do like after 7:30,
yes,
we've got her to that point now. And,
absolutely.
And when you were like, oh yeah, bro, like let's do 8:30 or later, I'm like, bam, I'm in. We're good. We're like, we are good, you know. So, but yeah, no, seriously, thank you so much for having me on,
absolutely,
man, and giving me the opportunity. So,
cheers to the future, bro.
Yeah,
let's see what happens.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank y'all for tuning in to Podunk Perspective. We drop new episodes every Monday. Till next time.